the Game Block Cast, episode 11. I'm your host, Richard Sherman, and this week on the show we have Kenny.
Hi. I was distracted, sorry.
Kirill.
And hello.
And no one else, because no one loved us enough to get back on the show. So Jonathan just isn't here this week, but he'll probably be back next week. So there you go. If this is your first time listening to the show, this is a show that covers video games, video game news, and other things that are relatively geeky in nature. And so we're just going to move on to our first segment where we talk about the games we played this week. And Jonathan usually goes first, but since he's not here, I'll go first. So I've been playing Pokemon X because all of the Pokemon hype that's been going on recently, you know, it's the 20-year anniversary of Pokemon, Pokemon Go, Pokemon Sun and Moon, blah, blah, blah. So I was playing Pokemon Yellow a couple weeks back, and I decided, you know what? I'm not really feeling this game. I don't know what it was. I don't know if I felt like, oh man, I'm finally old enough not to play Pokemon or something, you know? And so I was like, well, maybe I should try one of the more modern Pokemon games because I've had Pokemon X for a while and I've played it before, but I wanted to replay it again since I haven't played a modern Pokemon game ever since Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire came out. So I started playing it again and I was immediately addicted. So obviously I don't have a problem playing Pokemon X or the modern Pokemon games anymore. And so when people say Pokemon doesn't change that much, I have to disagree. Just because Pokemon as it is, like in Yellow, is completely different from the way it is Pokemon X, you know, however many years it was afterwards, which is like 18 or something around there. Yeah, 16, I think, if you count the span from Yellow to X. But it's just such a completely different game. You can tell that Pokemon X was a game that was made to go faster. Like you were supposed to get places quicker. You were supposed to, you know, finish battles faster. Like the experience share in Pokemon X, you know, all the experience goes to all the different Pokemon in your party. And I think it's just because it's the sign of the times, you know. I feel like, you know, the 2010s is, you know, a time where we move and do a lot more things than someone in the late 90s would, I guess.
We're a lot more impatient now.
That too, I guess. So like this, it just feels like a faster game. And, you know, to be honest, I think that was one of the problems with Pokemon Yellow is that I felt like I was just crawling from gym to gym and it took a while.
I thought it was interesting. You say it's faster, but the routes are so much bigger in the new ones. The routes in Pokemon Yellow, when you look on a map, they're so small.
Yeah.
It's just it's like a short walk from place to place, but it takes a long time because you walk very slowly.
Yeah,
or is it also just the scale of it? Because, like, I mean, on the screen, your guy is kind of really tiny. Like, only a few pixels tall compared to the rest of the scenery.
I think
I guess that's a factor, too.
I just think the biggest difference is that you can't run in Pokemon Yellow. You can't run, right. And you don't have roller skates, which is, like, the primary way of moving around in Pokemon X. Like, to run or walk, you actually have to use the D-pad instead of the circle pad. In Pokemon X, the circle pad is completely used for roller skating, which, like, for me, feels like it gets rid of the whole bicycle mechanic because I feel like the bicycle is not necessary to go faster than the roller skates. But you can still get a bicycle in the game. But, you know, other than running around and the game feeling shorter, I think, you know, also your Pokemon learn a lot more moves in Pokemon X. And Pokemon Yellow, the move pool is so much smaller than what, you know, you have 5 generations down the line. And I think that's kind of fun because it adds more strategies to the game. And also, since there's enough better type diversity in Pokemon X, it makes it better because basically in Gen 1, if you had all Psychic types, you could just rule the world because Psychic type was crazy.
They didn't do the weaknesses and strengths quite as well as they've refined them since then. Now, I did have a question. What's up with the roller skates? Somehow I haven't heard about this.
Pokemon X, you get roller skates fairly early on in the game, and so you can still run and still walk, but the primary mode of transportation is roller skates, and they're automatically, you can't change this, locked to your circle pad. So they work a lot faster than running.
Wow.
And so that's why I was thinking, what's the point of the bicycle? Because that's what you used the bicycle for in other games. Mm-hmm. You know, other than like a couple places where you had to like run up a certain, you know, side of a wall or something, you know.
Yeah. So they work anywhere? They work in sand, on grass and stuff?
For the most part, I don't know about the tall grass because I usually walk around in those or run around in them. I don't usually use the roller skates, but on the main paths and the sand and stuff, they usually work.
Okay.
I just got to the point where I'm in the Badlands or something, and I was using the roller skates, and they were slower in sand, and it was better to run. So, but I don't know if that was the sand or the wind, because the wind actually affected me depending on which direction I was going. Yeah, and you just get things a lot faster in this game too. Like I got after beating I think the third and fourth gym in succession, you get flight and surf within like half an hour of each other. And so that completely opens up the game like almost instantly, which I think is kind of a good thing, because sometimes like when you're just trying to build up your team, you want to be able to get wherever you need like to go to get your Pokemon that you want, you know? And I think it's a good thing that they give you these tools right off the bat. And
yeah, in the other ones, it was always you get Surf, and then later you get Fly, and then in Ruby and Sapphire, you got like a Dive even after that.
And I'm pretty sure Dive isn't in this game. It is in Pokemon Oris, but it's not in this one. And so yeah, I've been playing through that. I've been really enjoying it. I'm actually using Pokemon on my team that I've never really used before, except Espeon.
Ooh, like what?
Because I actually watched the Pokemon competitive like World Championships. And a lot of them were using that sword Pokemon, Aegeus Slash.
Oh, yeah.
Because he can actually change his stances. So depending on what moves he uses. So if he uses his like attack weapons, he has an attack stance, which I'm pretty sure boosts his stats of some kind or changes his stats around so that they're more in favor of attack. And then when you use like a defensive move, it goes into a defensive stance and does more defensive things, which I think is really cool. And it's used a lot in competitive play. At least it was when I watched it. And then I'm using just some other Gen 6 Pokemon that I've never really used before, because usually I always have like a Gallade or an Espeon or a Kingdra, things like that. Things that, you know, aren't really new Pokemon. And I'm still kept my Espeon because Espeon's one of my favorite Pokemon. But I have I think its name is like Duo Blade or something, a second form, like before Aegeus Slash. I'm actually using a Lucario, which is really cool because he can mega evolve in this game, which is like the fourth evolution some Pokemon have and not all. And then
that always bothered me a little bit. You pretty much have to have one Pokemon that's capable of mega evolution on your team, because you only get one mega evolution per battle, right?
I don't know, because I never really got into Mega Evolution, because I've always felt that I feel like all Pokemon should be able to Mega Evolve, because then that puts some of your favorite Pokemon, you know, kind of in the dust a little bit. Because Mega Evolutions are so strong. I
guess I feel kind of the same way, but the more I think about it, the more the requirement that one of your Pokemon of 6 has to have it. There are so many Pokemon that do have it, just not quite all of them.
That's true.
Seems like most parties would have one of them anyway.
Yeah.
I think.
So I'm kind of warming up to the idea, and some of the Pokemon look so cool in Mega Evolution. Like Lucario looks awesome. Lucario's Mega Evolution is also what he turns into in his final Smash and Super Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS. So if you're wondering what he looks like, he kind of looks like that. And then some of the other Pokemon, I'm using an Axew, which is one of the new dragon types, and they're super cool. What?
I gotta Axew. What do you think of him?
He's good so far. A lot of the Pokemon I'm using take forever to evolve. Like I don't think Axew evolves into his second form until the late 40s.
He's like he's got the same track as Tyranitar, I think.
Yeah, and Salamence.
Right. Really late.
And then same with oh man, I can't remember one of the Pokemon I have, but Honedge, you know, the sword one, like he doesn't learn all of his moves that are like decent until level 51 in his second form. Wow. And then once you get that, then you can evolve it with a Dusk Stone. So that's what I'm doing. And then I had a Chestnut, which is the third form of the of the grass starter. And I named it Grasstroid because I thought that was a great play on words. And then for some reason, I just don't like having starters in my final team. So I just booted him for a Clauncher, I think is his name, and he's like a crab with a giant claw, and his second form is a crab with even a larger claw.
That's kind of like
something like that.
Krabby and Kingler.
Yeah, but okay, well he may be like a crawdad or a lobster or something, maybe not a crab, but
some kind of crustacean.
But he's super awesome because he's only weak against 2 types, which I think is like grass and electric. So that's really good.
That's really cool. That reminds me of Gligar being flying in ground works out nicely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've just been playing around Pokemon X, and I've been having a really good time trying out new Pokemon I've never really tried before.
Yeah, it sounds like your party's mostly new ones. I always wind up going back to stuff honing before. I've got a couple Generation 4s and a few of them.
Yeah.
But mostly older ones.
Yeah, give them a chance because there are actually some really good Pokemon that are out there that look really cool. There are some ridiculous ones. Like Trubbish. Trubbish is the one that everyone goes to. Yeah, the one that looks like an ice cream cone. It's not...
The one that is an ice cream cone, Richie.
You're right. Well... Well, that makes you appreciate all the other really cool Pokemon. Like, the third form of Axew looks amazing.
I believe it does. I've seen it before, and I remember thinking, this looked like a Generation 4 again.
Yes, it's really cool. So, yeah, if you haven't tried Pokemon X, it's really great. You guys should try it out. Same with Pokemon Oris, which is Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which is the most recent Pokemon game, because Pokemon Sun and Moon is just around the corner, and every month they're distributing a certain legendary Pokemon this year. So
all right.
I think
Jirachi is the current one, right?
Yes, and so I think the next one's Darkrai, and then I think July is Arceus.
Oh wow! I want Jirachi. I remember trying to use Pokemon Coliseum to get him.
Yes, you get it through the pre-order disc, which is really cool.
We had to find it used, and it was really hard to find.
I had the pre-order disc, but it left. I don't know where it went. It was gone.
Half your game's left.
But it's probably worth a lot now, since it's one of the few ways you can get Jirachi until this month. So, all right, so that's all I've really been playing. Kenny is up next.
Yeah, so this has been another week where I've played not nearly as much as I want to. The game I spent the most time on was Miitomo. I think I've completed it. I answered all 440 questions that are available to me. I
have no idea if someone's actually done that yet or not, by the way.
When I didn't skip any. I had a legitimate, honest answer to every single one. And so when I talked to my he's like, "Oh, I had a question to ask you, but I forgot." And I think that means 440 is all we get for now.
Yeah.
I didn't get a notification that I'd finished. There's nothing changed. I'm popularity level 5. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But it's kind of exciting. I'm really proud I did every question. But other than that, nothing's changed.
Yeah, so that raises an interesting question, which is Nintendo going to continue bringing in new, fresh questions? Because 440 is a lot.
It is a lot, but then I did them, so it's maybe not enough. So what I was thinking is a neat way to do it would be to go in cycles, because one disadvantage I can see to having thousands of questions is right now I have 6 friends, I think, and even when I was only at 300 questions, pretty much everybody had answered one of the ones I'd answered, so I could think about what I answered and look at what other people answered on the same question. If people only answer 100 questions each and there are 1,000 questions available, there's going to be a lot less overlap, which is, it won't be quite as interesting. I think it would be neat if they kind of went in cycles, so questions were phased in and phased out, and there were 440 at any given time that everybody shared, but it changed periodically.
Yeah. I think it's weird. I think 440 is a lot of questions, and I think it works well for most people, because I don't think I'm anywhere near that. But I mean, if there are going to be a few edge cases like Kenny who do all of them, and then that's a bulk of the content is you answering questions and seeing what your friends have to say. So
I'm still seeing what my friends have to say, and the comments are actually super fun. I've been using people's answers to questions and comments as prompts for pun making, which makes my physics lecture a lot more interesting.
Yeah, I do enjoy the comments. The comments are really fun. And I think Miitomo as a whole is doing really well. I think it's in just 4 days of it being released in the US, it's downloaded 1.6 million times, I think.
Yeah, it's I know, from the people I know a lot of people that have Miitomo now.
I know 2 other people. 3 people. 3 people. 3 people total.
3 people other than us, or
No, just you guys.
Wow.
I've made my girlfriend download it today, so you're welcome, Nintendo.
Yeah. Oh, there was one more thing. It doesn't look like anything is moderated.
No, it's not.
No, definitely not.
Because the friend, I think they can do that because the friends are so hard to get.
Yes.
You have to either be there physically, be mutual Twitter followers, or Facebook friends.
Yes.
And yes, because I was just thinking, I thought about it when I saw my roommate's greeting. It's rather not repeat it, and then I realized, wow, there really isn't moderation.
Nope.
I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, it's just because it's a Nintendo game that's interesting, because usually they try really hard to do that. But then again, people don't like the fact, like, they don't like censorship. Like, Nintendo's gotten in some hot water recently with Fire Emblem and Xenoblade Chronicles X.
You can't pet the female characters.
Yeah, and you can't see the 13-year-old girl in the bikini. Weird. That's a bad thing.
Yeah, it's weird that I think it's definitely interesting that they'd go out of their way to change it, but both of those things. But I don't know. It is weird. Nintendo has been very strict about what they have on all of their games, all their platforms for a long time, and it's weird seeing like the first mobile game not have any kind of policing.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I get, when you think about it though, the Mii isn't I don't know how much of Miitomo really is like a valuable IP to them when it comes to moderating. Right. Like, I think they'd moderate a game differently if, you could say things like that in a Zelda game and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, this is fully meant to be a social experience with your friends, and maybe they thought censoring them would detract from the way your friends actually act.
Yeah, some of the most interesting and funny answers are definitely not for everyone.
Yes, that's true. But yep. Did you have anything else to say about Miitomo other than the fact that like Miitomo drop can be a cruel mistress?
It's
sometimes.
A scam. It's like the claw machines at the mall. You're never gonna get it. Never gonna get what you want.
I know.
That dang katana.
Yeah, that dang ninja katana. Do you know about the ninja katana, Kenny?
No.
Well, because they just released a new thing of Miitomo drop. Like, the past two have been like getting food items or cat things. Like, I got a cat on my back, and it's really cool. But
that was the dress to impress promotion.
Yes, and so the new one is ninjas, so you can get a whole ninja outfit and stuff, but you can also get a katana that you can wear on your back. And so the Miitomo like drop course, which is basically a pachinko machine, the katana one is like impossible to get because it's right underneath a 2-dot thing that you can't get through. So it's basically a platform on top of this katana thing. And so really the only way to get it is to drop your Mii past that one and get on one of the green, like, bounce circles.
Bounce back, yeah.
Yeah, bounce pads, and bounce yourself back up onto it, which is basically impossible.
Wow, so, I'm going to go spend 8,000 coins and like 15 tickets on that.
Yeah, well, I used all my Miitomo coins to get 10 play tickets off of it, and I was unsuccessful. I have like 2 of everything else. Like, I think you can get socks, ninja socks, and they just look like socks, by the way. Ninjas, I don't know if that's a special type of sock, but I have 4 different colors of the ninja socks. And I have 2 different colors for the helmet, and I think I only have 1 of the, like, actual robes you can get, but it's kind of annoying. I would like my katana, please. But
so,
do you know... That's what?
Oh, do you know which promotion has the katana? Is it the first, the second, or the third ninja one?
It's the first ninja one, I think. You can see it in the picture.
It's in the full body ninja suit at the bottom?
Yes.
Oh, man. Time to spend some cash.
Yeah, but so if a ninja katana makes you finally spend money on this game, then by all means, I guess go for it. But anything else, Kenny?
No. I've been having a really good time, but I've pretty much summarized everything.
Awesome. Kirill, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Chivalry Medieval Warfare, but not just that. a mod called Horde Mode, which is pretty much Call of Duty Zombies, but in Chivalry. And I played it with you, Richie, and
Yes,
with
I did.
our friend Juan, who is a regular listener on this podcast.
True.
So shout out to Juan.
Yeah.
But yeah, we played this. We weren't very good,
No.
but it's pretty fun.
Yeah. If you guys don't know what Chivalry is, it's a PC game. I don't think it's out on any other console.
No, actually, I think it is.
Really? Well,
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, well, it's a first-person medieval warfare game, so basically you're knights running around with swords and bows and arrows and stuff and killing each other in gruesome ways, much like the Middle times themselves, the medieval times, the Middle Ages, you know? So basically, every fight ends up, like your knight ends up basically being the Black Knight in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but, you know, you die. Like there will be times where someone will just come up with a hammer and make your whole head explode. Or just from hitting it and you die instantly, or your arm will fall off, or your leg, you know. And so adding a horde mode, which like was basically Call of Duty Zombies, like Kirill said, totally makes sense for this game, and it's actually really fun.
Yeah, so obviously they all come in waves. But then there's different levels of like different difficulties. So there's not just one quote unquote zombie. They're actually villagers, and they all have weapons or armor or some other bull crap that'll make them stronger or weaker and whatnot. So like there's also a height adjuster, and so every once in a while there will be this giant knight that'll come out of nowhere, and he'll be like twice your size and have
2 or 3
full
times
armor.
at least.
And he'll have a giant blade, so like even if you try to block it, it just goes like around whatever you're using to block, and you die almost instantly. So that's frustrating but fun. And of course, you can upgrade your weapons. There's better weapons in the game, so you can go from a broadsword, a single-handed broadsword with a kite shield. Actually, not a kite shield, a buckler, and then upgrade that buckler to a kite shield, and then get a stronger hammer or something to replace that broadsword. So there's progression in it, and there's different, depending on the map, there's different open areas that you can open, just like in Zombies, where you have to buy the door and you go over there, and there's different weapons and other perks that you can get, like a ballista or something like that.
Yeah, and we have a lot of fun with it, and it is fun, but sometimes it's just hard. It's really hard, and I sometimes think that the waves can be, they're not very balanced in difficulty. I mean, they obviously get progressively harder, but every once in a while, on wave 2, one of the giant people will show up and start attacking you for no reason. Well, obviously there's the reason they're there is to kill you, but they show up for no reason. So you'll have a giant, which is, 2 or 3 times your size, and will just come and kill you on the second wave, and it's over already. And that kind of upset me a little bit, but it's just still really fun to play with your friends. I really hope there's something along the lines of, like in Call of Duty Zombies, you could like, what was the thing where you upgraded your weapons? I can't remember what it's called.
The perk, Pack-a-Punch.
Pack-a-Punch. Yeah, you can pack-a-punch your weapon. And I'm hoping that's something in there, because we haven't unlocked all the places yet. Like, we haven't unlocked the church, which I feel like in this game, that's where that kind of thing would be. So we're playing
possibly.
on Horde.
We'll definitely be like exploring it more.
Yeah.
I hope.
The map we're on, it's a mod. It's called Horde Village or something
Horde
like that.
Town.
Horde Town. And so it is fun, but every once in a while you'll get this weak peasant that you can kill in one hit with a giant hammer, or he has a pickaxe or something, and he'll just overhead hit you and you'll die instantly, and you're just like, what just happened? And it's really fun. I think this is really when mods work, like the Just Cause 2 multiplayer mod and things like that. I think when someone like really dedicates time to a mod, it really shows how cool they can be.
Exactly.
So
this game is on PS4 and Xbox One and PS3 and Xbox 360, but I think
really?
It's on all the major platforms, including Linux and Mac OS. But I think that the PC version is the only one with mods.
Yes, I think so. That's most cases for PC games.
But that's mostly because it's through the Steam Workshop.
God bless you, Steam Workshop. Like, Chivalry has a bunch of other cool mods too, like turning your swords into lightsabers and having lightsaber noises and stuff too. That's really cool. Or, oh, we could talk about what happened in the team objective, Kirill, with Giant Slayer.
Oh, Giant Slayer is ridiculous.
So Giant Slayer, in this game, so there's a mode called Team Objective where, there are different people on each team, and one of the team defends and the other attacks. And so we were running through this one where Kirill and Christian, who's been on the podcast before, were attacking. Oh, wait, no. It was Kirill and Juan who were attacking, and it was me and Christian who were defending. So their objective was to kill a bunch of peasants, light some houses on fire, and then run up to the castle and kill the king. And so Juan and I's job were to defend them and, keep them away for a specific amount of time. So in Giant Slayer, which is like a kind of like a spin-off of Team Objective, you start off at 60% of your normal size, and as you kill and not die, once you die it resets your size, but as you kill you get progressively larger and larger.
And you get more health.
Oh wait, no, it's the other way around. Me and Juan were attacking.
No, it was you and Christian.
Me and Christian who were attacking, and Kirill and Juan were defending. Sorry about that, I got confused. So these peasants go down in one hit. And so me and Juan had some trouble. Well, me and Christian had problems at the beginning. And so we had 12 seconds left to get through the first phase, and we did it. And through the process, I ran through and killed most of the villagers in the town. And so that got me to 150% of the normal size.
Well, we were dying because we were only 60% of the size.
Yeah, so Kirill and Juan were really small, so I could kill them in one hit if I wanted to, and go through their shields for some ridiculous reason. So then the second part of this area is bringing this siege weapon to the castle wall so you can destroy them. And so I was getting to the point where Juan and Kirill's defenses I can just blow through them. So it got to the point where Christian could just destroy the walls with the siege weapon while I just sat there killing Juan and Kirill, and I got to 494% of my size or something like that. So at that point, I'm towering over everything. I am huge. It takes me forever to walk anywhere. It's to the point where my animation for swinging my weapon doesn't even work anymore. And the problem is that once this happened, we were basically unstoppable, but we had to go inside the castle to go kill the king. And I was too big to fit through the door. So that led to some problems to the point where Christian had to actually kill me. He spent 2 or 3 minutes just hitting me consistently over and over again till my giant body died. And then once I finally died, this game adds team damage. So when Christian died again trying to kill the king, who has insane amounts of defense and damage capabilities, he had 2 minutes of spawn time. Before he could respawn.
Yeah, I think it was
again.
133 seconds. And it's typically 2-second increments that it gives you. So it's you got 2 seconds added, you got 4 seconds added, whatnot. You had 132 seconds of added time for team damage.
And so at that point, we only had 3 minutes left in the game. So I had to go try and kill Kirill and Juan by myself. But they kept killing me over and over again. So Kirill, who was the king, got really big to the point where I couldn't kill him either. So we ended up losing because we did so well at the first 2 phases. So that's just kind of some of the mod fun you can have in Chivalry. So if you like that sort of game, it requires actually a good amount of skill, especially since, it's a first-person sword fighting game. So you guys should really check it out. It's really awesome. And I think that's it. So we'll move on now. News. And we'll start out with some of the more interesting news, which just broke recently, which is there have been some Zelda rumors that have been being thrown around by credible sources. Emily Rogers, I think is her name, that started this. She also but had sources that told her about Paper Mario Color Splash a while ago before it was even announced. And she also has sources that claimed that Mother 3 is coming over to the U.S.
Oh, so she has a good track record.
Yeah, and Mother 3 on the U.S. is still up for debate. But those are some of the more recent things that she's done, but she has been pretty credible in the past. And so she's talking about, she found some Zelda rumors, and I was watching a video by Game Explain too, and they said they were hearing the same thing. So this could be a pretty credible rumor. So there are 3 different rumors actually. The first one is that it was Zelda Wii U was split up, so it would also be on the NX, which kind of everyone knew about, I think. At this point, if you've been following Zelda U at all, I think that was pretty obvious from once they delayed it. That kind of became.
Is it gonna? Do you think it'll be a simultaneous release? Because if it is, holiday 2017 is a long ways away.
16. It's gonna come out at the same time, I think, and it's gonna be 2016.
Okay.
It may even come out on the NX first. That's what happened with Twilight
Ooh.
Princess. When you think about it,
Was
Twilight
there
Princess
a delay on the GameCube?
Yeah, Twilight Princess came out on the Wii in November, and then it came out in December for the GameCube. So that could be a possible thing, but maybe not, especially since a lot of Wii owners, which all 3 of us are, have kind of gotten the short end of the stick when it comes to video games coming out on the system. So we'll see. But I think, what do you guys think of this first rumor? Do you think it totally makes sense? Or do you think it's just still going to be on the Wii U and not the NX?
I think that it makes sense. It's been delayed long enough that it's gonna wind up being released right around the NX either way. It kind of makes sense that they would make changes to make it compatible with both, so that people that upgrade to the NX can play it there, and people that are on the Wii U can still play it. Because they did say it will be released for Wii U at one point. It'd be kind of not very nice to go back on their word.
Yeah, especially if they just made it for the NX, that would just be awful.
Although I wouldn't care, because I'm going to buy an NX day one anyway.
Yep, me too, because we're just that kind of fans. The thing is, that's how sad my Nintendo fanboyness is that I'm going to buy the NX no matter what it is.
Yeah.
And that's bad. Well, I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing, but I'm going to get it no matter what.
I don't know. The way I look at it, I've got a lot of fun out of the Wii U, especially even just for Smash Brothers. It was worth it to me to get the Wii U. If there's going to be a Smash Brothers for the NX, even just for that game, I would buy the machine and it would make sense. And besides that, I really like all of their franchises. They're just all the characters that only Nintendo has, and you can only play on their consoles. Even if there aren't a lot of games, it's worth it to me at least to get a Wii U just to play those.
I agree. The amount of time I've played this console, I may have played it more than my Wii. With Wii games in general. I use my Wii a lot for GameCube games, but the amount of time I put in Xenoblade, which I'm pretty sure is around Xenoblade Chronicles X, is probably around 100 hours, at least. I think it's around 100 hours, and I really want to go back and play more, but I just haven't had time. I've probably put around that much time, maybe a lot less than that, but in Splatoon, I put around 60 or 70 hours. Same with Mario Kart. Smash Brothers is probably more than that. And that's not counting, I played it mostly on other people's Wii U's. So just those games alone, not counting other games like Zelda Wind Waker and HD and Twilight Princess HD, Super Mario 3D World 2, it's just it's definitely been a system that's worthwhile despite the amount of games that have come out on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so rumor two. Rumor two, that there will be voice acting for everyone but Link.
Whoa. Oh.
So
that's going to be really weird.
What do you guys think of that?
Kirill, talk about it.
I like that. I kind of like that. I've always been kind of weirded out just by the noises that people make in the Zelda franchises.
That's true. Wind Waker especially.
Yeah, especially when they do like yells. It's like, why are you yelling? You're like telling me that about this super serious thing that I have to go find or fight or whatever, and you're yelling your freaking face off. So I kind of like that. I don't know how I feel about actually no, I agree that Link shouldn't be voiced.
I completely agree too.
His hi-ya is good enough for me.
Yeah. I think it seems like it'll be pretty consistent with the other ones, because right now what we have is Link doesn't have text, but everyone else does have text. Now it's just the same thing, but with voice acting. I think it'll be really cool.
Yes.
I do kind of wonder what Zelda will sound like.
Mm-hmm.
It does kind of make it more immersive, I think.
I think so too. I think the big thing with this is that I feel like just from a fan perspective, I don't think anyone would be the right person to voice act Link. I think no matter who they throw in, whoever it is, like even if I think they do a good job, most of the people are just going to be like, you gave Link a voice? What? I'm only going to buy this game 3 times instead of 5.
What happened to the Game of Thrones thing where it was going to be the Zelda universe instead? The TV show.
Oh, the Netflix one? I don't think it worked
Yeah.
out. I think it was a rumor, and then Nintendo was kind of like, yeah, we're probably not doing that right now. So who knows? They could be still, but we still have the Universal Studios park to look forward to, which is going to be awesome.
What is the Universal Studios park?
You don't know about it?
No, I haven't heard anything.
They're making a Nintendo theme park
What?
in Universal Studios. Yes.
Whoa.
I can't believe you haven't heard about this. This has been like a thing for a year.
It has?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty old news, man.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I'm pretty sure it's going to be in Florida and in Hollywood. I think they're getting rid of the Marvel world at the one in Hollywood, which makes sense because from what I understand, it's not updated very well. I could be wrong.
All the
And the
Marvel
fact that
things
it's
take
owned by
place in New York
Disney.
anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, yeah, and Disney.
Yeah, and Disney happened. So I think they're replacing that with the Nintendo theme park. So
Wow, that
look
is
forward
super
to that,
cool.
Kenny. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so
So-
excited now.
I know it's going to be awesome. So we'll move on. That's probably a whole nother topic is to talk about the Nintendo Land theme park. We'll talk about that more when it comes to
Is
more
that what's going to be
light.
called, Nintendo Land?
I don't know, but hopefully it's just that and it plays the Nintendo Land theme music the whole time because it's really awesome.
I want to play. What's the game? I want Sweet Day.
Oh, Secret
In,
Treaties, as we call it.
I want to play that in real life. I want them to give me a giant hat.
A
and
head
I want to
with
collect
candy in it.
Uh-huh.
Well, okay. The worst thing that could happen is that it's just Mario underneath one of those like blue pop-up tents. I've always thought that would be like the worst thing that they ever could do is like just have a guy dressed up as Mario in a pop-up tent that's like, it's me, Mario. And you're just like, no, you're not. You sit on a throne of lies.
They need to have design a special mask that you can stretch, like Mario 64, so that you can walk up to Mario and then completely destroy his face.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're getting off topic. Third rumor.
Number 3.
Maybe the more important divisive one is that you will be able to change Link's gender. If you want to do the whole mission journey as a boy or a girl, you have that option.
Okay, so not change. You get to select at the beginning, though.
Yes, I may have worded that wrong, but you get to choose which one you want to be.
Wow.
So boy or girl, which I think is fine. I
honestly think that it matters absolutely not at all, so I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah, like the only real thing that's going to happen is that they're just like the only way I see it affecting the game is the text is just going to say he or she instead. Except like if there is voice acting, that's going to change a lot. Like people are going to have to redo their whole lines if they say he or she.
They're going to use they or they're going to use proper nouns.
Or they're just going to say, oh, hero chosen by the gods, like they did in Twilight Princess over and over again. Or just say Link or whatever your name is. So this means that the voice acting...
voice acting with your names?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I just thought in my head. So that means your name's just going to be Link, unless they never bring up your name.
Or if they're like Fallout 4, they could do the thing where they recorded the dialogue with, I don't know how many, it was hundreds of names. So if you picked one of these names, you got full voice acting with your name.
Ew.
I picked George, and I was just the robot said George, and I was like, whoa, how did he get my name? How did he read my name? Is he text to speech? What is this? And it turns out they just have like a database of names that all the voice acting was done over and over with.
I had no idea.
But they're probably not going to do that because names are so weird.
Especially since, they're going for a whole worldwide audience. Fallout 4 came out in Japan way later, I think. And I think they're probably going to aim for a worldwide release for Zelda. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Nintendo handles voice acting, because this is like the first Nintendo game, other than Fire Emblem, that has really a lot of voice acting, except for Xenoblade. But
There's always the classic example of excellent voice acting. Mario Sunshine, that was like stellar. You had top
Toads were.
notch.
Oh my goodness.
So Nintendo has a great history of voice acting. I'm sure they're going to do a great job with Zelda.
I'm sure Charles Martinet will voice everything.
Yeah, and Danny DeVito.
Oh no. Oh, did you hear that Danny DeVito, like someone approached him about being Detective Pikachu and he had no idea what Pokemon was?
What?
Which I don't know if that's completely correct, but yeah, that's what happened.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like, what the F is Pokemon? And like he turned to all of his, because it was during, like, it's when they announced that there's going to be 2 more seasons of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, good.
And someone went up to him and he turned to like the cast of the show and he's like, what the F is Pokemon? And and so I mean, I guess he's old enough for it not to be relevant to him, but I feel like it was a big enough thing that he heard of it at some point.
I mean, they have floats in parades here.
I know, like the Macy's Day Parade
Pokemon.
always has like
Yeah.
a Pikachu somewhere.
Uh-huh. Huh. Well, I hope he still actually does it, because it's not out in the U.S. yet, and they haven't announced a date, have they?
No, they haven't even talked about the U.S. one at all.
Well,
Who kn-
that
they'll
means
probably talk
there's
about it
still
E3.
time.
Yep, Danny DeVito.
That's
going to
be
still
their
do it.
That's going to be their big conference. They need to one up their Wii Music presentation, so they're going to have Detective Pikachu headlining.
That's not hard to one up at all.
It was pretty great. They had an actual drummer smashing away on the Wii Balance Board drums, and they
Yeah.
had actually, honestly, it was a pretty well coordinated trumpet part during the middle of Mario Brothers. They traded back and forth, and it was pretty good.
Yep. Okay, let's move on to our actual the rest of our news. But now you have your if you didn't have your ear to the ground on Danny DeVito, now you know. But now we have a lot of NX rumors that have been coming out recently, and it kind of gets old after a while, but I still feel like we can talk about it because it's always fun to talk about a new console, no matter
I love talking
what-
about the NX.
whatever game console it comes out. So let's start with the first one. And Monolith Games, the people behind Shadows of Mordor, not Xenoblade or Xenoblade Chronicles or Xenogears, games like that, there's suspicion that they're making a game for the NX, which is probably Shadows of Mordor too, because that's also been coming out in news recently. And hopefully
Cool.
it is, because that shows that there's third-party support, and Shadows of Mordor is an amazingly awesome game. So yeah, I think it makes sense that they're making Shadows of Mordor too. I think if this is a credible rumor, that's really good, because it helps feed into this next rumor, which is the Nintendo NX will also be by or times 86 architecture, whatever it's called. So that's similar to the PS4 and the Xbox One.
Oh, so
which
it's
would
going to
be
be running
amazing.
I think it's going to have a desktop like processor, which will make it easier
Yes.
to port games and write them universally. That's going to make a big difference. If it's easy to port games, they're going to be ported.
Yes.
That's going to be nice.
They're all signs point to them using some sort of AMD chip, which is different from what they've normally used. I think they use some other companies. I don't know what it's actually called.
Yeah.
But
I know, that's
they're
pretty cool. AMD's hot stuff.
Yeah, a hot
Get it?
mess. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're funny, Kenny. They have overheating problems. Okay, but that's what AMD cards, chips are what they use in the Xbox One and the PS4. So if Nintendo has their own, AMD chip or whatever, I think that's great. I think that really helps. I think that'll really help third parties decide to actually go develop for the NX, because the Wii U, if you guys didn't know, actually has completely different architecture than the Xbox One and the PS4. So that's why people don't like programming for it, is because it runs on different hardware. So
Yeah.
that
Unless
takes
they're
time
using
to develop.
something like Unity that does all of the hard cross-platform work for you, it's not a trivial task getting all your technologies running on a completely different architecture.
Yes,
And that's why they avoid it, I think. Just, it
Yeah.
sounds expensive.
Well, it was different back when, the PS4, like when the Wii was around, because the Wii sold enough that it made, like, it, even all that hard, like, even if they had to do all that hard work, it still made business sense to do that.
Right. Because it was just such an audience they were missing.
Yes, they were missing 90 million people or somewhere
Yeah.
in that ballpark. So it made sense. So, Yep. One of the other rumors is that the Wii U will output not the Wii U, the NX will output in 4K,
Oh, neat.
which would be crazy. Could you
I
imagine Nintendo actually having a one-up on technology than the other two systems?
That would be really special.
That would be
We haven't seen that
crazy.
since before I was born.
Yeah, well, the GameCube was powerful, just the discs that they used weren't
Oh yeah, I
good
forgot
enough.
about that.
But yeah, no, it's insane. It's
Yeah, that'd be a
crazy.
neat change.
I think that'd be awesome. Especially since what if this PS4.5 thing is real, then the Wii, like the NX, is already like keeping it themselves toe to toe with Sony, which is the big player right now.
Now, I was wondering, do we know when everybody else is going to be updating their consoles, releasing the next versions? Because it was still pretty recently that they completely dropped PlayStation making PlayStation 3 games.
Well, there's still
When's the?
PlayStation 3 games coming out.
Oh wow.
I mean, well, actually, to be honest, I think something just happened to the PS2 that made it officially considered a dead console. I think some servers got shut down and stuff like that.
Oh
But
wow.
but the PS3, like Persona 5, which is a huge game, is still being made for the PS3 and PS4. But so there are some games that are still coming out, but it's definitely drying up. So I mean, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
I think is what I'm
I
trying to
was
say.
I was just wondering if they release a new console in 2016. Let's just hypothetically 2016. Not that that's actually ever going to happen,
Oh,
but
no, this is happening. It's happening. I
yeah.
bet you money. It doesn't matter. We
So
talked about
if it's 2016, wouldn't that put it pretty close to the middle of the other consoles' life cycles? Because the Wii
Yes.
U was already a year early. Would this put it 2 or 3 years earlier than the next iteration of the other guys?
Yes, it will, because if we just think that it's going to be a 6-year console cycle, which
Right.
I don't think will be the case if the PS3 and the Xbox 360 are just now barely getting done. That's 10 years for the PS3 and 11 years for the Xbox
Yeah.
360.
That's a lot of overlap.
That's a huge overlap. That's a 3-year overlap. And so if the NX is allowed that 3-year overlap, then I think it'll be okay. But you're right. Who knows when the Xbox One or the Sony, like, the Xbox 2 or the PS5 comes out,
It's going to be
if
the Xbox 9.
or if the Xbox even comes out at all, if it just becomes like basically a Windows machine. But it's a good question. I think probably we'll actually hear rumblings of their next consoles in the next couple years, 2018 or 2019 or so, I would think.
Yeah, then that does give Nintendo, if they are that late compared to Nintendo, that does give Nintendo a while where they really will have a leg up on the competition. They'll be able to use newer technology or cheaper technology that matches the other consoles, and they'll have a couple years there where they're at least tied, which will be
Yes.
very neat to see. It'll be neat to see what multi-platform games come out for it.
Yeah, which is a good segue into what we were going to talk about.
What were we going to talk about?
Microsoft brought up the fact that they are still game for cross-platforming. And they said
Oh, yeah.
if anyone, like, they're welcome to talk to anyone who is thinking about trying to do that with them. So if the NX is actually the same architecture as the Xbox One and stuff, Nintendo could even do something with Microsoft if they wanted to.
That'd be neat to get the something that already is that already is on both consoles, give them cross-platform multiplayer, like Minecraft. The Xbox 3 edition, I think, is the same as the Wii U edition. It's gonna keep updates in sync.
Yes.
It'd be neat if stuff like that had cross-platform multiplayer.
I would think so too. And especially since all the architecture is the same, it gives it the perfect opportunity to keep those updates similar to each other. Like,
yeah.
I would understand, like, if the Wii U couldn't cross-platform with the Xbox One because it's a completely different animal to program for.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's kind of the Microsoft news for this week. It's not really that big. It's just cross-platforming. But
Microsoft.
what were you gonna say?
Finish your thought.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I just thought of something. Like, what if they made the NX some semi-modular? So that instead of buying a new console when the PS5 and the Xbox 2 come out, they have like a $100 or $200 upgrade thing you could put on your NX that makes it as powerful as the other two.
That
I
would
think
be
that
cool.
would be smart.
That'd be kind of like what they did with the Star Fox cartridge on the Super NES. They had the
Yes.
3D graphics processor or whatever that let the game run it all.
Hmm.
Then there was one last. Oh no, that wasn't Microsoft News. Never mind. I'm done.
So that actually kind of brings up a very interesting point because I found an article, or actually it was on Reddit, of BioWare founder, what's his name? Greg Zeschuk? I don't know. Whatever. But he said he's not very keen on the idea of mid-cycle upgrades. He's talking about the Xbox One and PS4, the point .5s. With those, so it's the idea of having this new iteration of consoles that aren't the same, and how hard it's going to be for developers to develop for what's basically now 3 different consoles in their lineup.
Yeah, it reminds me of the new 3DS, because you're either going to get games that only run on the new 3DS, which will disappoint a huge amount of people that already have the old one but not the new one, or you're going to get games that are designed for the new 3DS, and the people that have the old one are still going to be disappointed because they run so badly. And I guess the other option is don't support the old one, but then... did I mention that
People feel
option?
kind of cheated.
Well, yeah, especially
Yeah.
like let's
Oh.
say the PS4 thing, for example. Like I just got a PS4 like in December,
Yeah.
and 3 or 4, well, okay, like 4.5 months ago. So I wouldn't feel that great. I would like, there are cases where this happens. Most of the time when there's a new console, someone buys their old console like a month or two before the new one comes out. So that's just a thing that's going to happen. But
Yeah.
to say that this is like, and I would understand, like, if it was just a PlayStation 5 and not a PlayStation 4.5, like, it makes sense. I understand, I bought something that's kind of late into the console cycle, like, that's, 3 years down the console cycle, so it kind of makes sense that they'd upgrade. But if it's a PlayStation, if they straight up call it a 4.5 and it's not a modular device for your normal PlayStation 4, then that kind of sucks. Because
Yeah.
basically it's saying not only are you not going to be able to play new games, but you're not going to be able to play any new games until like you buy the next system after that one. So you're going to have to wait even a longer period of time unless you have to go buy the PlayStation 4.5.
And it kind of diminishes the whole fact, like the whole idea behind consoles, which is that they work. So instead of having to build your own PC and having like things go wrong and whatnot, you can just buy it, put a game in, and you know it's going to work. And like that's one of the big pros for consoles that I would say is it's just grab it and go. So like if this is done, this mid-cycle updates, I guess you can say, so updating the hardware in the system, it completely ruins that. You might as well just have your own PC and just build what you want out of that instead of buying a new $400 gaming console that you don't even know how long it's going to last until they do the next iteration.
True.
And you can't play those games anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, like that's the problem though, is that technology is advancing at a much more rapid rate than, back in the glory days of consoles. Like, there weren't a whole lot of PC gamers when the SNES and the Sega Genesis and stuff were around. Like, sure, there were a lot, but not as many as there are now.
Yeah.
And, but because most people were console gamers, it made sense to be a console gamer because, the technology on the console would still be viable in 5 or 6 years.
It was cutting edge, and it was nice to have a consistent platform for developers to release things on.
Yes. But now it's getting to the point where, like the PS4 and the Xbox One, especially the Wii U, is really outdated already.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean they can't produce good things on them. Like, I think you can optimize a game on a console better than you can a PC. I could be wrong about that, but
I think you can probably really target specific hardware and probably optimize it better just because it's going to be the same hardware every time.
Mm-hmm. So like, will these upgrades just become a thing? Like, because, it's just going to get to the point where it's not going to be able to keep up well enough to keep people impressed with the graphics.
The only way I can see it keeping up and me not being pretty frustrated with it, these modular updates, because the last thing I want is to buy the updated hardware and then be stuck playing old games because people are too scared to target this new thing no one spent $200 on yet.
Yes.
That's the last thing I want to do. And the only way I can see me being particularly happy with it is if they give you, if they release the same games with enhanced graphics.
Yeah.
Just if it's on the old hardware, the graphics, they go down automatically. It's like having presets on a computer. Just they have levels of detail. They have texture sizes. They change the way the game looks, number of lights depending on where you're playing it. Then I could totally see it happening. But if it creates another divide where half the people have the old one, half the people have the new one, you're either going to get bad games for the new one because they don't want to abandon the old ones, or you're going to get no games on the old one because they're too busy trying to make it look good for the new one. And the only way everyone could win is variable graphics, I think. And they're already doing that on PC. We know it works. It's just they'd have to do something like that. There are already cross-platform games between Wii U and Xbox One. We know it works. But yeah, that's the only way I'd be really happy with it.
So it's just going to be an interesting thing. We don't even know if the PlayStation 4.5 is a real thing, but it seems to, every time we hear about it, it seems to gain more and more credibility. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So I think that does it for news. Kenny has something to talk about. He did something that I wasn't expecting at all. And what was that thing, Kenny? We talked about it last week.
Well, first I'd like to say, Logitech, I'm really sorry. You are the best. So the Logitech G900 Chaos Spectrum. It's a mouse. They advertised faster than a wired connection over a wireless connection and 1000 hertz polling. I said 1000 hertz polling is great and it can't be faster than wired last time. Well, I didn't think of something. So what they've done, or what it appears that they've done, is they've got really fast wireless, so fast that it's not adding any significant delay. It's near zero. So I don't think it can physically be faster than USB. It's a USB dongle.
Yes, it is.
So it's got that that's USB. It can't be faster, but what it looks like they've done, and there's a really good Linus Tech Tips video where they take a tour of the Logitech wherever they're testing all the mice at Logitech, and they run through a bunch of really good tests, and they show you the numbers, and it looks like the speed improvement is primarily internal to the mouse. It's registering events and sending them faster than other competitors' wired mice. Their wireless interface doesn't add significant latency, and then they beat the other mice by being faster inside. And so it totally makes sense. It's like, why? I didn't realize that they could gain 3 to 4 milliseconds, beat my Death Adder by 3 to 4 milliseconds just by making the mouse faster inside, and it's still faster, that much faster, when it's in wireless mode using their ultra-fast wireless USB dongle. And so I've completely changed my stance. If you're looking for a $150 mouse, from what I've seen, this definitely looks like the best way to go. It's got what appears to be a fantastic sensor. It goes to like 12 or 1300 DPI. It's got 1000 hertz polling rate.
12,000 DPI.
No, 12,000 DPI?
Yeah, probably not 1200 because that's relatively low.
You're right. 12,000 is definitely what it is. But yeah, you're right. I've got so many kilos and stuff going on in my head. It's hard to keep track of them sometimes.
That's okay.
But it looks like overall a fantastic mouse. What they've done with the clicks, the mechanical clicks, sounds fine with me. And yeah, on their really good, really well-controlled tests, it benchmarked faster than competitors' wired mice, which is super cool. And I ordered one. That was the surprising thing Richie was talking about.
Yeah, Kenny
I'm
shelled out
gonna,
$150. What?
yeah,
Which is insane. But I mean, you can return it if you don't like it. So,
I don't know.
and
I'm not sure how Logitech's return policies work. I was gonna get it on Amazon, but it's not there yet. Everyone else, it seems, is getting it late. It looks the easiest way I found to get it soon was through the Logitech store.
I'm sure you can return it. Um,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it because I've got a lot of cables going behind my desk, and even the braided cable on my Death Adder, which is the nicest cable I've seen on any mouse. It still gets caught on them sometimes, and that can completely ruin a moment in Counter-Strike if it's bad timing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the wireless is going to be pretty nice, and the fact that they've refined the wireless to the point where it doesn't matter, it's super stable and super fast, is great. And since they've actually gone and made the mouse respond better inside, it's crazy good. If you really want to spend a ton of money on a mouse, I'll have a better review after I get it on Monday or Tuesday. But so far, it looks like I'm eagerly anticipating its arrival. I can't wait to use it.
To go back on wireless mice and gaming, I have a wireless Logitech gaming mouse. I think it's the G602. I think that's what it's called. And it only goes up to 4,300 DPI or something like that. Not crazy, but I never go up higher than that. So
I play pretty much everything at 800, so I'm not.
yeah.
At least I'm not really worried about it. It's a testament to how accurate the sensor is, though, if they let it go there, though.
Yeah, I love that mouse. It doesn't actually have a charger as AA batteries still. Also and 95% of the time I don't have a wireless problem, and it's not and the only other 5% I had was I moved my computer underneath my bed and by my desk, and that created some wireless interference. And so I was having a really bad problem with that for 2 weeks. I was thinking, oh no, my mouse is just gone, for it worked really well for 7 months, but then something happened, and so now it doesn't work. But then I just moved it onto the pass-through on my Logitech G710 Plus, and it works flawlessly again. And I love it. It's so good. I just love not having that extra wire there. And also, I know the Proteus, not the Proteus Core, that's Logitech's wired flagship mouse. The G900 doesn't have this much battery life, but it also, charges. Mine runs completely on batteries. Mine lasts about 250 hours.
That's a lot of hours.
And then if you don't like the batteries being in there, you can leave only one in there if you like a lighter mouse instead of two, which I thought was a cool thing. But it's usually a lot longer than 250 hours. I've been using this one set of batteries since January. And I use my computer every day. I mean, I turn it off whenever I don't use, whenever I'm not, whenever I leave to go to class or, go to sleep or something. So I don't leave it on all the time. So it works for an extremely long amount of time, and it's very, very reliable. So for everyone who's skeptical about wireless gaming, as long as you have, not a lot of interference, it's going to work great and flawlessly.
That was one interesting thing about the Chaos Spectrum was their wireless dongle. It's meant to be placed next to your mouse pad.
Yes.
It's on a wire, and they want you to put it near your mouse. They don't want you to have it under your desk, and I think it's just for that reason. It makes the connection unstable, but that's one of the reasons they were able to get it. Apparently, one of the reasons they were able to get it fast and stable because they have the receiver right next to the mouse. And there was one more thing. I am very curious. I'm going to try once I get mine to run I'm going to try to get some good controlled tests going, and I want to compare its wireless performance versus straight USB, because it does have that. You can plug the USB cable in, and it will do its reporting over the USB instead of the wireless dongle.
That's really
while
cool.
it charges. So what I'm hoping is if I can get a slightly better way of testing than clicking and then listening in OSU. I record it and count how many milliseconds are between, so it's pretty accurate. But if I can get a better way, I want to see the latency difference, because either way, wireless mode is still very impressive. But I'm
Yes, it
curious how much better, if at all, it is on USB.
I think I'm really excited to hear what you have to say, because I really want it, but I also really don't have $150.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to compare it to my Osu keypad thing.
Awesome.
That's very low latency. I'm gonna run better tests on that, because I think it had 4.5 milliseconds from movement to moving the mouse to being registered on the computer. At least that was what the Logitech tests report. And I'm pretty sure my Osu keypad, I need to get slightly better measurements, but I need another microcontroller to take them. But I'm pretty sure it's recording the key press and sending it all in under 1 millisecond.
That's crazy.
And then I have 1.5 milliseconds. I'm not sure if it's enough. I might turn it up. Delay on release, so that for debounce, so I don't accidentally register multiple hits.
That makes sense.
I'd always one factor for delay, at least internal to the mouse, is how long you wait after you register a press to actually consider it registered, just in case it was accidental, like you released the key and it bounced.
Yeah, I know what you're
And
talking about.
then it registered another hit. So a lot of times they'll have a delay before. I optimized my Osu one for pressing. It is immediate. The instant it registers it sees a press, it fires
That's
the
awesome.
event. But I have it waiting right now 1.5 millisecond
Oh, that's cool.
on release, to make sure that it wasn't just a problem with the switch. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm really curious to see how it compares to that, because for all I know, I'm completely missing something, and there's still optimizations to do on my keyboard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super excited. I can't wait for it to get here, and I'm gonna have more to talk about next week.
Yep, and I think that'll do it, unless anyone else has anything else to say. I think that's going to do it. Kirill, you good?
I'm good.
Okay,
Does
well,
the Chaos Spectrum have RGB lighting?
yes, it does.
Awesome.
And with that, I think we're good here. So thank you guys for listening to the Game Block Cast. We are a weekly podcast that shows up every Monday in your podcast feed. But if you don't have a podcast feed or a podcast app, you can always check us out on SoundCloud or iTunes. We're on both of those things. Subscribe on iTunes. Leave us a review on iTunes. Leave us a comment on SoundCloud. Subscribe on SoundCloud. I almost said clown sound. But
You just did.
But yeah, I did. You could also check us out on YouTube. We're a little behind on updating those, but I'll update those as soon as I can, and we should be up to date. We're also on Facebook and Twitter at GameBlock. So if you guys want to check that out, feel free to do so. Like us, tweet at us, retweet the tweets, do all that social media stuff. And thank you guys for listening. I am Richie, and
I'm first this time, so I'm Kenny.
Yep, Kenny's
And I'm
here too.
Kirill.
And thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys next week. One.
2.
4, 3.
You did that on purpose?
Yeah.
I was a little delayed there because I was changing the episode number on there, and I was like, oh god.
I changed it.
No. On like, this is the Game Block Cast.
Oh.
Like,
All right, so is everyone ready to go? Or
I'm ready.
okay, Kirill, you have to talk this time.
oh god, no.
You can't just sit there while Jonathan and Kenny and I talk about things.
I don't do that.
This is the Game Block Cast, episode 11. I'm your host, Richard Sherman, and this week on the show, we have Kenny. Oh, wait. Dang it.
I can be first if you like.
Oh, sure.
I can handle this drastic change.
Miitomo has been really good to me. I've been having a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see what Nintendo has later on down the line.
Hold up. I just want a ninja sword.
What?
I'm going to get the blue one.
You're lying.
Or I'm going to get the shiny
Lies.
silver one.
Lies.
Okay,
well.
Yeah, no, I'm not lies. So it's the one on top. It's the top thing. I completely
Yeah.
screwed it up. It's the
How
one
did
on
you
top.
get it?
You literally drop... Oh, wait. Oh, that's the one that is really hard. I got it by accident. I was going for the one at the bottom.
Oh no.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Whoa, I just realized how hard... Wow, I did it first try. That's pretty cool.
You got it?
Yep. I'll
Oh,
send you a
man.
picture after.
That's ridiculous. This will be in the bloopers. Okay, well,
Hacks, man, hacks.
so